One of the things I'm asked a lot about is what is the difference between religion and spirituality? And I'm going to share my experience. I completely respect your own experience, opinions, and beliefs. And since I'm asked my experience, I'm just going to share it here. My experience with the difference between religion and spirituality is religion is a practice. I exercise every day religiously. It's a religious practice. Spirituality is a relationship. For me, spirituality is my connection with a source greater than myself that lets me know that I'm not here alone and I'm connected to everyone else, that we are all connected, we are all one. So some churches are religious and spiritual. Some churches are just religious. And I've been into churches that are just spiritual and they don't have so much of a religious structure. To me, a religion doesn't equal spirituality. And let me explain that. I don't know if you've ever had the experience of walking into a church and feeling no spiritual movement in that church. I've had that experience more than once. The church that my family attended on occasion when I was growing up did not have spiritual movement in there from my experience. I would walk into the church and feel uncomfortable. I felt judged. I would feel a very frigid type of energy in there. And it felt like everyone was trying to look their best and put on their best face to give the perception that they're somehow perfect and have it all figured out. And the messages coming forward from the pastor were very fear-based and judgmental, and I would leave that experience feeling worse than when I walked in the building. I've also had the experience of going into churches where the Spirit is moving very strongly to where I instantly felt like I wanted to cry. I've had the experience of walking in and feeling just the unconditional love that Spirit gives. And those are the type of religious experiences that I think most people are seeking when they join a church. It varies from church to church based on who's leading it, who's a part of it. There's a lot of power in the collective consciousness. When everyone comes together and they're focused on one specific thing, there's a lot of power in that. So there's power in group movements such as churches, but it's not limited to churches, as I've had those same spiritual experiences in things that were completely away from church, just like-minded people coming together with the vibration of love and wanting to accept other people, help other people, and they come together for a greater good. And I've had those same spiritual experiences in those gatherings. So it's not limited to a church, but it does happen in a church. Some churches are religious and spiritual. Some churches I've found, this is my experience, are just religious. And I've also been to churches that do not really follow a religious structure. They're very open and free, and they just kind of go with the Spirit when you show up at a certain time. I guess that would be the only thing religious about it. The Spirit just sort of moves the service, and you don't know what time you're going to get out and how long you'll be there, what you're going to cover, those types of things. So for me, that's the difference between religion and spirituality. I believe that people that follow a specific religious denomination are following it because they want to do their best in this world. I believe that they're committed to it because it keeps them structured and centered, it keeps them feeling connected, and they're really doing it because they want to be their best self. And I completely respect that. I love that, actually. If that is what keeps you grounded and it keeps you centered, it keeps you focused, I think that's fantastic. I personally do not follow any specific religious denomination. I'm a spiritual person, which means that I can listen to someone share teachings of Buddha with me, and there's things about it that would resonate, and I can take it and integrate it into my life and appreciate the teachings that came forward that resonated with me. And I can do that for Jesus, and I can do that for Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Lakshmi, whoever I resonate with at that time. I'm open to receiving wisdom, and I trust my intuition to be a filter as to what is not going to work for me and what will. We're all different. We're all on different paths. We're all in different stages of evolution, and I believe that we're all trying to live our very best lives. So whatever that looks like for you is okay with me. I think the part that turns people off about religion is when there is a religious person that is attending a church that is religious and not spiritual, and they come across with their judgmental teachings that they've received from their specific pastor because it even within the Bible and different religions, or not the Bible, whatever religion you're following. I've sat with even Buddhists that will share with me how different variations, different churches of their specific denomination teach different things based on the pastor that's coming forward. It's their interpretation you're receiving. What they don't like is when someone sits across from them and starts telling them all the ways that they're living wrong. God is love. So the way that you attract someone to spirituality is through love. If there's a room and you have like a really kind, soft, gentle person, and you have a really harsh and judgmental person, who do you think you're going to be drawn to? If you're desiring more love in your life, you're going to be drawn to the softer, more gentle person. You're energetically drawn to the light, to a person that is kind and loving and caring. You're not drawn to someone that's judgmental and pointing out everything wrong with you. You know, we do that to ourselves. We don't need somebody else to do that for us. We're pretty critical, self-critical, just part of being human, most of us anyway. So I think that that's the part where people get really turned off with religion, including myself. I think that if we learn to respect each other's path, life will get a lot easier and more peaceful.